2.
Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this evening talk brought to you by the Spiritist-Society of Bournemouth and Poole Christian Spiritualist Church. I am Fabrício Assunção from the Spiritist-Society of Bournemouth. I do apologize for the delay. We had some technical issues, but it was more important that we all here. A special welcome tonight to our guest speaker, Cristina Saressalo.
Saressalo, thank you.
Saressalo. Cristina is an expert in neuroscience. She graduated from King's College London with a degree in neuroscience and is a transformational coach from Animas Center for Coaching. She's also a somatic coach for the Somatic School. Cristina is the author of a project that is part of the Multiple Sclerosis Society Millennium Award Scheme. In this work, she speaks at schools about multiple sclerosis and the importance of helping people. The subject of Cristina's talk tonight is fear, love, meditation, and the immune system. We look forward very much to your talk tonight, Cristina.
Thank you.
First, let's go to Lawrence Saville at the Poole Christian Spiritualist Church for our opening prayer. Over to you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Fabrizio, and good evening, Cristina. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you.
So if we could all just still our minds just for this short time, just leave all those things that beset us, all those worries, all those frustrations, all those cares, concerns. They can be set aside just for this short time, for this is our time. And we ask, Divine and Gracious Spirit, we join together once more under this banner of education, this banner of learning and growing, learning how to walk this path, to be a part of this world, to live up to our full potentials, to be of assistance, to be of service, and to be at peace. We ask a blessing on our speaker tonight, and we also ask a blessing on all those dear ones watching, whether it be tonight or in the future. We pray earnestly that you glean information, upliftment, comfort, but most of all, understanding. For when we understand our life's past, fear is removed and replaced by a strength and a knowing that all is well. Amen.
Thank you, Lawrence. It's now my great pleasure to hand it over to Cristina for her talk on fear, love, meditation, and the immune system. Over to you, Cristina.
Thank you, Fabrizio, and thank you, Lawrence. Beautiful initial prayer, Lawrence, about knowledge. I think knowledge helps us to tame our fear whenever possible, to reduce our fear. So beautiful, thank you. Okay, so the idea today is to talk a little bit about fear, love, meditation, and the immune system. I'm touching on all those three things. They are somehow interconnected, and we're not going to go deep into the science, but we're going to, talk a little bit about each one. So let's see. We can go, that's okay. This is, so first, just a highlight on the immune system. Is supposed to defend us from external ailments, from bacteria, viruses, other things that happen, and sometimes we have autoimmune conditions as well. But I'm not going to go into detail about what strengthens the immune system, because the focus today is when we talk about fear, love, and meditation, I'm talking about our thoughts. But I still wanted to highlight just very briefly, of course, diet is important to strengthen the immune system, the microbiome, so the gut bacteria related to the diet, good nutritionists who can talk a lot to you about the microbiome. Nice, of course. Relationship with others. It actually does help when we have a good relationship with somebody else. It kind of strengthens our immune system. As when I start to talk about fear is a stress response. And if our relationship with others is somehow toxic, not a very peaceful relationship, we all have problems, but there are relationships that are more toxic than others. That can have an effect on our immune system as well, because it's causing a stress response, which I'll talk a little bit about it in a second. So, and I could not talk about the immune system without just highlighting the importance of vitamin D3, because vitamin D3 is a hormone that strengthens the immune system. It's the so-called sun vitamin, but we know that it's actually not a vitamin. It is actually a hormone that regulates the immune system. So it's extremely important for us at this day and age that most of us are indoors or working from home or at an office to have some vitamin D3. Actually, even in the sun, because we do not stay at the right time and for too long in the sun. So consider having a look at that. If you're not already on vitamin D3, consider having a look. So yes, the focus today is our thoughts. What our thoughts can do to our immune system, how it can help or how it can have a negative influence. I'm going to mention this a bit later, Maratona da Imunidade. This is in Portuguese. I'm going to come back to that later at the end. So now, before we start, I want to, since we're going, not before we start, we already started, sorry. When we're talking about our thoughts, I want to do an exercise with you. I want to, this is you, me, all of us, and behind, sitting at a screen, at the cinema, and behind this screen is a cinema screen, and behind the curtains is a cinema screen, and in that cinema screen is your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors. So I would like everyone, I invite everyone to take 1 minute. I'm going to mark it here, 1 minute, to think. Do not think too much. To the first word that comes to your mind related to thoughts, emotions, or behavior, think about it and write it down, and we'll come back to it later. Just think about it and write it down. 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so remember your thoughts, and we're going to come back to it a bit later, okay? Yes, so behind the screen are your thoughts. So I hope, inside your mind, we have all sorts of thoughts. It doesn't matter if it's a negative or a positive thought. I just wanted you to have the opportunity to write down one thought, behavior, or action, behavior, or thought, feeling, or behavior that comes to mind. And here we go. So, oh, yes, of course, if you're facing trauma, consequences of trauma, please look for professional advice, because going behind the curtains, looking sometimes to our thoughts can be a bit too much, like a little bit of shadow work. So jump into it if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, of course, do not do this. Okay. So, fear and the immune system. So, fear is an emotional stress, and we have different kinds of stress. We have chemical stress. The body suffers different kinds of stress: chemical stress, physical stress, if you have an accident, and things like that. The fear is considered emotional stress, and when we have fear, since it's stress, we are going to have a stress response. And when we have a stress response, what happens with our bodies? Our bodies will alter. We're going to get to that in a second. And our brains, they see a fear or a threat. Our brains are preparing for survival. I'm going to come to that, why it's so important to be mindful of fear and of our thoughts. So anything that causes us angry or upset or feel afraid can trigger a stress response. And it can be anything can cause a stress response, including fear. So, for example, it can be an angry boss, family fights, illness, accidents, as I mentioned. It's a type of stress. And the importance of all this is that our brains cannot tell the difference between real threats and stress. And that does make a huge difference once in our lives, because if you had a stress, but if the stress response keeps happening, then disease happens, and then we're going to talk about that in a second. It's very important to know that our brains cannot tell the difference between real threats and stress. Talking about the fear and stress response. So we've got adrenaline, cortisol, all those hormones running through the body when we've got an emotional stress like fear or other triggers, other things causing, other threats or triggers causing a stress response. I'm highlighting fear here, but as I mentioned, other ones. And of course, it's because the message in the body is get ready for action. So get ready for action. The heart rate increases, digestion is slowed, and the blood is directed to the muscles. And why? You don't need blood in the gut to digest anything. If you're running from a tiger, you need blood in your muscles, in your legs, in your arms to run. Okay. What's going to happen? Eyesight is narrowed. You're focused on the danger, and you do not see ahead. Why that is important is because with that, in the long term, I'm going to have another slide that's going to clarify that a little bit later. But with fear, with long-term stress response over the years, that happens a lot when we have trauma, especially childhood trauma and other trauma. The stress response keeps going, and that will weaken the immune system. And what happens at the same time that you have cortisol and adrenaline, there is no time for growth, for the growth hormones. And we're not talking about growth hormones. We're not talking about growing up like, children. I'm talking about, we need growth hormones for cicatrization, if you have, for healing. So stress hormones, too much stress hormones, no time for growth hormones. And most important, not most important, but also very important, is the prefrontal cortex is where we do some reasoning and thinking. And if you're running from a tiger, you don't have time to reason, and that's so important. If we are afraid under whatever circumstances happening in our lives, our power of reasoning, thinking, logical conclusion, logical thinking reduces, and that is very important, guys, because it's a moment that it's more difficult to make decisions and understand what's going on around us. So fear has so many negative effects. So as we know, a reaction to a stress response, I'm not going to go into it, but you've got a trigger, and then a threat. You feel fear, you get stressed. If you get stress, you're going to have a reaction to the stress response. And the reaction to the stress response is what we know, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn is one that we hear less, but fawn is when you have the people pleaser, can say no, and are easily exploited. I just highlighted that there is because we talked less about it, and it's still very important. And we can have people that are going through, this stress response, reaction to stress, and either for something that just happened or for ongoing stress. We can go through all of those at the same time. One doesn't exclude the other, or sometimes you're in one stage, sometimes you're in another. And I just recommend one book. There are many good books, but if people are interested in this, is Pete Walker Complex. He talks about complex PTSD from surviving through thriving. He talks a lot about phone as well. Okay, so next. Yes, so I wanted to make it now more visual. We're going to go through what I just said, but in a visual way with some pictures to clarify. Okay, so if you have a threat, a trigger, in this case we're talking about fear, which is an emotional stress. Let's see what happens, is what we talked about. But why did I want to put the little lion here as well? The cat, that famous picture that you see a cat, and when the cat looks in the mirror, the cat sees a lion. Lots of things are about perception as well. And remember that our brain cannot tell the difference between a real threat. At the back, the brain cannot tell a real situation, a real threat. And sometimes the stress, especially, again, that happens if we've got complex PTSD and other things, that something happened in the past and you carry on with that stress response. So anything can take you back. You got that trigger over and over again. You can have that trigger, that response, or the trigger, that response over and over again. So certain things are about perception, the way we perceive threats. There are threats that are real. I'm not saying that they are not. There are threats that are real, of course, and others that it's important to tame down the fear a bit and evaluate everything that's going on around us. So fear, courtesy of my daughters, those arrows, so thank you. So what happens as those responses that I just mentioned now, you've got a threat, you've got a trigger, you've got something triggering the emotional response, emotional stress of fear, you've got someone afraid, you've got someone running, and you've got all that stress happening. And when that happens, what happens in the body? What happens in the body is that we've got a release of stress hormones, including cortisol and adrenaline. And to start with, stress response is a good thing, because cortisol and adrenaline is of course what keeps you running, what keeps you going. If you do have a threat, you need to run. So you need cortisol and adrenaline. They give you the strength, give you blood running where it should go. It goes where it should go for you to run or hide or whatever it's necessary for you to protect yourself, for all of us to protect ourselves. So we've got all the responses that I just mentioned: fight, fly, freeze or fawn. But what happens over time with too much cortisol and adrenaline is that we're going to have to we have an inflammation. The body will produce an inflammation reaction. Sorry, before we go there, the cortisol, it's also connected with happy, excited. You've got a roller coaster of emotions. When we watch a movie, I don't like terror movies at all, but people like, be on the edge, or sports, like bungee jumping or things like that. You're on the edge, and that you have cortisol running through your veins. You have cortisol running, through the body. So that is okay for a little bit. And I just tell a little story about my grandmother's dog. The Basset dog, the sausage dog. This was many years ago, but it was a sweet dog that would bark and bark when the doorbell rang, like he was a lion, just bark and bark. But when my grandmother would go to open the door, he would run behind my grandmother's legs, and he would go back to being a little dog, because he would bark and bark, but he would always hide behind my grandmother. And one day, he would not stop barking. He would stop barking. So people at my grandmother's house, my grandmother decided to have a look. There was a little snake. So that's why he couldn't stop barking. He saw the snake, he saw the danger, he saw the threat. And in animals, when animals have a fear response to a threat, animals will do whatever they have to do. Fight, you have that response. But then after some time, the animal shakes it off and goes back to being an animal, to doing whatever it was doing. Us human beings, we do not do that. We carry our stress response in our bodies. I'm going to show you a slide later. It stays in our thoughts, and our bodies carry it as well. And by carrying it, once again, we don't have time for reasoning, too much fear, see the prefrontal cortex, and that interferes with our growth hormone, which helps in healing. And so if you don't have growth hormone for healing, if we cannot think what's happening in the long term, we get sick. We ended up getting sick. I don't know, but perhaps your grandmother, somebody told you before, to not worry about this, or otherwise you're going to get sick. Yes, it's true. Of course, too much worry, and we end up getting sick. And this is so important, that idea of fear, the fear response. It's so important because except cortisol in the long term, over months or so on, it becomes less efficient. You're not going to feel the excitement and things like anymore. And it starts weakening the immune system, as I mentioned here already, the growth hormone and everything. And just to say how strong cortisol is that it is used when someone has a transplant. It's used in transplants to tame down the immune system, so the immune system will not reject a new organ. So guys, it's so important that the fear over the months, the last few months and so on, this fear, our immune systems are just weakening and weakening and weakening. Once again, weaken so much, cortisol weakens our immune system. So fear, cortisol weakens our immune system so much that it's used transplants to avoid rejection. Okay, so no matter what it is, what trigger it is, we can skip that because I already mentioned that. Oh, that. Oh, I'm having a problem here, guys. Okay, doesn't matter. Having a problem here. So we're going to go back to this. It's a little bit out of place, but hopefully you can understand. So what happens in the long term? Once again, cortisol weakens the immune system. It's the hormones of stress. And in the long term, now we're going to talk about epigenetics. So in the long term, with the immune system being weakened, with immune system not too strong, what happens is something called epigenetics. This gentleman here is Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's a great scientist, very nice man, who did a lot of work on epigenetics. And epigenetics, the idea of epigenetics is that our genes, they do not just work on their own. People say, oh, I have a gene, my family has a gene for cancer, so I'm going to have cancer. It doesn't work like that, actually. Majority of our diseases are actually created. That is what epigenetics and the science tell us, and we're going to get to that a little bit later. But basically, so Bruce Lipton, as I mentioned, did lots of work on epigenetics. So with fear, what fear does, it downregulates genes. Downregulates what it means. It will, if you think this is the DNA and the genes are inside the DNA, and this is like a light switch, what fear, excessive fear, will do long-term fear over the months. It's like pressing a light switch. It's called the downregulating. So it's downregulating genes that will cause disease. So all the genes that we have in our body, they need to be upregulated or downregulated. If they're downregulated, they will cause disease. If something is upregulated, healing occurs. Since we're still talking about fear, I wanted to mention this case because Bruce Lipton mentions Angelina Jolie. As you know, the actress Angelina Jolie. She has a history of breast cancer in her family. And because of that, she removed her breasts because of the gene that her family has. And Bruce Lipton said, yes, she would probably have breast cancer because of her thoughts, the way she behaved, the way she thought. Because our thoughts are very powerful. Our thoughts are energy, like we know in the Spiritist community and other communities. Everything is energy, including our thoughts. So our thoughts, they do affect our bodies, our immune systems. And even if the person had the right conditions, as I mentioned right at the beginning, which is the diet, which is the exercise, even with all the right conditions, if the fear is too big, the stress response will be there, and that can downregulate genes here. I think it's too small for you guys to see, to read, but it will downregulate genes, and in the long run, you have a disease. So in the case of Angelina Jolie, Bruce Lipton mentions she probably did the right thing because of the way she thought. Not necessarily because of the gene, but of the way she thought. She was downregulating the gene that would cause disease. So his words. So if we are thinking about the worst all the time, we are, of course, downregulating genes. Once again, we are downregulating genes that will cause disease. Sorry, there are things in Portuguese and in English here. But the important thing as well, another thing to pay attention to in psychology, we've got emotional contagion. So it's a little bit about this. If someone has it, someone in my family, someone has it, it's a bit like, I've got to have it as well. So in society, this is emotional contagion. This is quite dangerous, actually, because it's little, without going too much into a definition, it's a little bit like it's having sympathy. I was at a talk at the Fraternity-Spiritist Society months ago. I think, well, 2019, a long time ago now. And I don't remember his name, but the speaker, he did mention something about, he was quite funny, actually, but I couldn't do the way that he was doing, but he said, there is almost like a competition, like, oh, so I have this disease, and then somebody else said, but you know what happened with me? What happened with me was even worse. And then somebody else will come say, no, but with me, it was even worse. And so there's this speaker that he was telling this story, he was telling this, and there is that idea of camaraderie in a way. Somebody has something, I feel sympathy. It's important to separate that, as you all know, we cannot help people if we are all so sick. So it's important to have your boundaries, and if someone around you is unwell, you do not have to be unwell as well. And there is a chance of helping someone if we help ourselves first. Yeah. So that again. Oh, sorry. But okay. So the only thing that's going to come up here is that the 30,000 genes, which I did not mention before, is that when we this epigenetic trigger, this epigenetic science, it will say like we have 30,000 possibilities for the same gene. So the way we think, the way we feel, what we eat, the environment, we can have 30,000 copies of the same gene. Sorry, not 30,000 copies, but 30,000 variations of the same gene. So the chances that you have chances of getting ill, but you also have the chances of not getting ill. You have the chances of down-regulating a gene and getting ill, or you have the chance of up-regulating a gene. You have 30,000 options with the same gene. So that's a lot of options. So what we've just talked about is that genetics, how we can down-regulate or up-regulate genes to cause diseases. And since I'm concentrating on thoughts, as I mentioned, our thoughts have a big, and thoughts are energy, our thoughts have a big role in up-regulating or down-regulating genes. in causing diseases, downregulated genes causing diseases, upregulating genes to not causing diseases. So yeah, so I posed the question, if we can create disease with our thoughts alone, can we heal ourselves? Yes, we can, of course. We know about miracles. Epigenetics explains miracles. And if we think about quantum physics, if we think everything being energy, as we know, the Spiritist doctrine and other doctrines, with everything being energy, we can, of course, influence epigenetics with our thoughts. Thoughts are energy. Genetics, down is energy as well. Yeah, so, I forgot. So genetics, yes, it's a mechanism that allows the genes to be modified and make 30,000 variations of a single gene. I mentioned that, and I forgot I had this slide. And emotional contagion, I mentioned that as well. So now we go into love. We already spoke about fear now and how it can downregulate genes and cause disease. Love and the immune system. The same scientist, Bruce Lipson, that talks about epigenetics, has great work with epigenetics. He does say something that I like to read, I like to quote. Love opens you to the world. I cannot pronounce that, but you can see what I mean, which allows you to bring in the joy, the energy, and the happiness. Fear closes you down. Love enhances energy. Fear shuts the energy down, which is what we already mentioned, what fear does to the immune system. And love will have the opposite effect. And the idea why I chose love, I'm going to come back to that towards the end and towards the meditation. The importance of love for the current situation, and according to the Spiritist doctrine, we are going through the planetary transition, and there are other doctrines, other schools of thought also talking about changes, and love is sort of the magic answer to many things. So love, feeling loved. I'm not necessarily talking about falling in love. I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about all kinds of love. And okay, there are studies, just look at the two last arrows here, that falling in love. There are studies about falling in love and how we can upregulate genes that will help in the immune system function better, and downregulate genes that would cause disease. But the two first arrows here that I wanted to highlight is that the importance of love for us as a society, as families, as human beings, as everyone, that everyone, when we feel loved and cared for and secure, that boosts our immune system. Once again, what happens when we go through trauma, we do not feel safe, we do not feel secure, and the fear, we're not feeling safe, you're not feeling secure, and that long-term downregulate genes causes diseases. And of course, people with a loving support system tend to respond better, to recover quicker after certain procedures, whatever it is that is happening in life, surgery or a cold, flu, whatever happened to someone. Okay, so next. But at the same time, once again, we've got fear, we've got love, but we have to remember the power of belief and suggestion. Then we are going back to energy. Everybody knows about the placebo effect, that if you're given, let's say, if you're given a sugar pill, you have two groups. One is given a sugar pill and one is given a medication. And people will sometimes, quite a big percentage, will still react positively to the sugar pill because their belief, the power of belief and suggestion, their thoughts, our thoughts, made the person believe that the person would get better. The person didn't know if it was a sugar pill or not, and the person can still get better. It's so powerful, the power of belief and suggestion, that the body can produce our own internal pharmacy. It's very important, guys. It's very important because of medication, of lots of things. Remembering everything is energy. So yes, the placebo effect works, our thoughts, our beliefs. But something that is not talked so much is the nocebo effect. But it's there as well. It's not talked so much in the media or whatever. But it's the other way around. If a person is given a sugar pill, but the person is told that that pill has terrible side effects, the person is told that it's a medication and that medication has terrible side effects, the person will start to have those side effects. The power of belief and suggestion. It's so strong. The importance and the responsibility of media and propaganda, power of belief and suggestion. We can get sick by thought alone. Oh, sorry, going back to the nocebo effect, yes. It's so strong as well that it can have an impact on the recovery of surgeries or procedures. If a doctor tells, this is so difficult, this is such a difficult procedure and so on, the person could have a negative reaction that, it will impact the recovery of surgery or procedures. There is something, it's interesting, I'm just going to mention it. It's the power of belief. I'm going to mention it, which I find it interesting. It doesn't necessarily fit into here, but it's interesting. MPD is multiple personality disorder, and there's a documentary, Dr. David Hamilton's a documentary called Heal, who can watch it. It's very interesting. And this documentary, Dr. David Hamilton, he mentions how somebody with multiple personality disorder would change in one personality. A person would have, let's say, hives or allergy to orange juice. I think what he said was allergy to orange juice. That personality. Then when the person switched personalities, the other personality did not have allergy to the orange juice. The person did not have the reactions, the allergic reactions. So something interesting is going on there. The power of belief. It's just an interesting point here that I mentioned. This is just an inside joke. I turn on, I turn off. It's the gene in therapy. Guys, give me a break. Regulate your thoughts, because I'm turning on, I'm turning off. Disease, down-regulating, up-regulating, down-regulating, up-regulating. Just a silly joke. Okay. Oh, yes. So our thoughts. Remember when I asked you to think about something and put behind the curtain your mind and think about one thought, feeling. I don't think I mentioned emotion, but feelings, emotions, or action. The interesting thing is that our thoughts is that we have like 67,000 thoughts a day. So our brains are like, our minds like roller coaster. But the interesting thing is that 90% of those thoughts are the same. So here we are, thinking. But what we are doing is we're carrying our thoughts. We're carrying an emotional baggage. We're carrying a baggage of thoughts with us. We carry it so much, and we carry it here on our subconscious mind. The iceberg, you can see the tip of the iceberg is the conscious mind, is what we can see, is what everybody else can see. But under our subconscious mind is where we have our behaviors and emotional reactions. It's like a computer program. Things that have been memorized are here. It's like driving a car, but not only driving is here, but it's like driving a car. Once you memorize it, once it's there, it goes to the subconscious mind. When you're driving, you do not think mirror, signal, maneuver, mirror, signal, maneuver, mirror, signal, maneuver. You don't think, you do it automatic. And you experience drivers, you drive talking to somebody else, and you still get home without knowing how you got home. It's something that became automatic. And so by 35 years old, behaviors like driving and other behaviors have been memorized, became automatic, and they are here in our subconscious mind. So when we're talking about our thoughts and how they influence our immune system, if we have the same thoughts, 90% of our thoughts are the same, day in and day out. We are carrying our thoughts with us, of course, wherever we go. And our thoughts are here, and they're the same. The chances for us to break free, it's like another scientist, Joe Dispenza, his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Sometimes we need an internal change. Break the habit of being ourselves. Pay attention to our thoughts and change our thoughts so we can change our health, so we can change our immune system. Okay, let's go there. And why? Because here when we're thinking, our thoughts are the language of the brain. It's how the brain operates, the mind, but our emotions are the language of the body. And we are in this constant loop, as mentioned here. 90% of our thoughts are the same as yesterday. So we are in this loop. We've got emotion in our bodies. We feel afraid, we feel happy, we feel love. And then we think about the same things. Could be the same things, the same thoughts. And we are in this loop, day in and day out. Fear, body, mind, mind, body, body, mind, mind, body. There are ways of going to the subconscious mind. I did put here somatic coaching, but there are so many others that we do exercise to release the baggage that we are carrying in our subconscious mind. Once again, these things, traumatic events are quite here. They are stored here in the subconscious mind and in our bodies. So when we're talking about reprogramming our minds, we should be mindful of everyone's experience, because everyone will, of course, have had a different life. Call it whatever you will, be it karma, or people who do not believe in karma. Here we do. People who believe in karma or not, something happened and it's stored here. So for us to break this cycle and strengthen our immune systems, there are ways of doing that, of ways of releasing that. There are good books as well. There's Bessel van der Kolk. I did not write it here, but Bessel van der Kolk is a psychiatrist, has what is it? The name of the book. The body bears the burden is another one. It's Robert Scar. The book before, but more recent is Bessel van der Kolk. Check him out if you're interested. He talks about ways of dealing with trauma and releasing the emotional baggage we carry in our bodies and the trauma we carry in our bodies. And why am I talking about all this? Because when we talk about our thoughts, the way people say, oh, yes, you need to change your thoughts to get better. You need to change your thoughts. Do not think about this. But come on, guys. We've been thinking the same thoughts over and over again. By the time we're 35 years old, it's there. It's a program. It's like a computer program. So it's not just like you go to sleep and you wake up with a new thought, a new behavior. Not usually, unless sometimes you have a traumatic experience and things can change very fast. But usually, no, they don't change very fast. Once again, sorry, I keep going back. Once again, it's stored here in the subconscious mind. So one way of helping us is strengthen our immune systems. Because remember, we are talking about our thoughts. We're talking about fear, love, and other thoughts. One way is what we call self-regulation. So we are self-regulating. It's not suppress our emotions, but with self-regulation, self-regulating, the way meditation helps in that, doing that, but self-regulating, what happens? We calm down our bodies, we calm down our stress response. And what self-regulation is, regulate reactions to emotions. We focus and refocus whatever needs to be done. And control impulses, again, I'm not talking about self-regulation. When we talk about self-regulation, we're not talking about, you're not supposed to think about this, you're not supposed to think about that, you're not supposed to eat ice cream ever again. We're talking about perhaps extremes like getting a 500 mils of ice cream and you alone eating it in one go. It's probably not good for your body. It's not good for your body. So when we talk about self-regulation, it's not suppression, but it's thinking. It's a know thyself principle. It's thinking about our thoughts and our emotions and how we can help them help us, how our thoughts and emotions can help us regulate our immune system as well. I did mention trauma here, just once again, sometimes when we have extreme trauma, self-regulation, self-regulating becomes harder. So once again, talk to someone about it if that is the case. So when we did that, remember I asked you to think about something. I hope you thought about something because I cannot see you here right now, but you thought about something, thoughts, emotions, thoughts, feelings, or behaviors. I thought about something, I asked you to write it down. And this exercise, know thyself, it's interesting. I asked my daughter to do a drawing, but it did not come up. But the idea here is to detach a little bit of your own thoughts. It's important to remember that we are not our thoughts, and we can rewrite our life story. Even if you tell me, once again, I have genes of cancer in my family, I have this, I have that. I saw different numbers, but most recently I saw that 98 or or more % of diseases are created by thought alone. It's epigenetics once again that I mentioned before. Because even with the right environment, the right food, the right exercise routine or whatever, if we are afraid or whatever it is that we are thinking about, we can go one way or the other. We can down-regulate a gene or up-regulate a gene. Our thoughts are that powerful. If you think about the quantum field and the Spiritist doctrine, the fluido cósmico universal, the cosmic universal fluid, everything is energy, and you get in touch with it. You can go one way or the other. Our genes are also energy, so you can down-regulate it and cause a disease, or you can up-regulate it and have a healing experience. So with that exercise, I wanted, we're not going to go too deep into it, but just to have a little break is get that thought again that you wrote down. And the idea now is that I had my daughter's drawing, but we did not upload it, but I will use myself. So here I am, and I have a thought. Let's say for me, I'm going to be honest, people who have had sometimes, for example, lots of childhood trauma, and we accumulate lots of anger. So you become anger. So imagine here there is a label or a cloud around me. There's a cloud around me involving my whole body. So think about a cloud involving your whole body with that thought. Positive or negative, mine, I'm using anger. Because that was something for me that I had to work a lot on. So once again, trauma creates it, it's one of the responses. So imagine a cloud around you, and somewhere in this cloud, write down the emotion, the thought that you had, that one that you wrote before, either positive or negative. It doesn't matter, positive or negative, okay? So it's there. Something I'm writing, I say that it's a label that we put. Right, it's inside the cloud with you. Okay, so now if we detach that we're not our thoughts, and we can sort of control our behaviors, can try to self-regulate. I'm not saying control to suppress your emotions, suppress feelings, not at all. It's just things that could dampen down the immune system. Okay, going back. So cloud with the feeling, with the emotion you wrote inside, okay? First of all, it involves your whole body. And then let's get the cloud start moving to one side, to your side, perhaps involving your heart, and you're still hanging on with that cloud and that feeling. Let's say it's written here, anger. I hope you can see my arm. Let's say it's written anger in my left arm, and a cloud around it. But look, I'm not anger. Anger is still a part of me, but I'm not anger. And then get that cloud with the feeling, with the thought, with the emotion, whatever it is, the behavior, written inside, put it on the side and have a look at it. That's your emotion, that's your thought, that's your behavior. It's there, you're not it. It may be part of you, but it's important to detach of our thoughts sometimes. And the idea of detaching here of our thoughts be positive or negative. Once again, it's the immune system. If we're too attached to our thoughts, the fear, whatever thoughts we are having, it's difficult to self-regulate. It's difficult to perhaps have an influence in the immune system that is not so, I think catastrophic is a big word, so I'm not going to use catastrophic, but that's the first word that came to my mind. Let's say a strong effect in the immune system, a strong negative effect in the immune system. Okay, so cloud, thoughts to the side, know thyself, self-regulate our thoughts. It's not about suppressing it, it's just understanding that you're not your thoughts, we are not our thoughts, and we can have control over it if we work on it. Okay, so that's the screen. That screen is your brain, is your mind, and you can come back to it whenever you want. There it is. The thoughts, the thoughts that turns out our brain, our mind. Yeah, okay. Right. And now we're going to go a little bit more. We're past halfway talk already, but we're going to go into talk about love, and we talked about fear and love. And one good thing to the cinema screen exercise to try to help us know ourselves, see what we are thinking about, and try to regulate it. And I liked this, and we're going to use this because everybody, I suppose, lots of people, especially in the Spiritist community, because we talk about energy, seeing the energy chart, the energy, everything's vibration, and certain energy, certain thoughts, emotions have a lower vibration, and other have more. And this one is, I found this one quite cool. This scale quite cool because it also illustrates about what's going on in the body. So have a look at it your own time. I'm just going to highlight here how shame, apathy, how it's right there at the bottom, anger and fear. Let's find fear. Vibration of fear is quite low. So it's important for us to be aware of it. I'm not saying I don't feel afraid. Everybody feels afraid. Especially whatever circumstances, we have different circumstances in life. But be mindful of it, be mindful of your thoughts, be mindful of situations, and see what's going on. And the other ones that I wanted to highlight here is love and appreciation and compassion. See how it's quite high up, and it's important. Those will be important because we are going to talk about it at the end, just a little bit, in a few seconds, about the meditation. We are going to use compassion, appreciation, gratitude as well. I don't think gratitude is here, but oh yes, it is here. Yeah, of course, compassion, appreciation, gratitude. Yeah, it's quite high up. Okay. So yes, we talked about emotions. We know about that. Important to raise the frequency of our thoughts. We know the water. It's important. The experiment, the water experiment, Masaru Emoto. But I think we can go to the next one because we know about the energy. scale, vibration. So I wanted to give you a few examples of healing, because say, okay, yes, you're talking, but is it real? Can we really heal ourselves without medication? Can we really heal ourselves? Are there miracles? Yes, there are. Of course, there are. We know that. Scientifically speaking, it's the epigenetics side of things, as I mentioned many times now, upregulating, downregulating genes. So now those interesting, I gave those 5 people here because they were people that used their thought to live life in a healthier way, in a healthier manner. So just quickly, here first is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I mentioned him already as a neuroscientist from, I mentioned him, the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and he has many other books. He's a great scientist. He had a terrible accident. He had a terrible accident a few years ago, decades even. Very healthy, riding a bicycle, had an accident, was hit. I don't remember if it was a truck or a car, and he was paralyzed. He was in bed, and he was told that he would never walk again. And he saw, I think it was 4 doctors who told him about the surgery, that if he wanted to have a better life, that he should go for that surgery. And him, as a professional, at the time he was a chiropractor, he said that he would suggest that to his clients, to his patients. He would suggest you should do that surgery. But for him, he didn't want that. And he started thinking that if there is an intelligence, now we are getting access to the quantum field, to the cosmic. I'm sorry, I keep thinking Portuguese. Fluido cósmico universal, cosmic universal fluid. So he said, if there is an intelligence that gave me life, there is an intelligence that can also help me heal. And he was in bed, he says. He was in bed, he had nowhere to go. So he started meditating and doing some mental exercises. And after 6 weeks, he started getting better, but he didn't give up. It's the consistency. In neuroscience, we know that it's the consistency, it's the repetition that changes behavior and thought. It's repetition, consistency. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, after 6 weeks, he started getting better. After 10 weeks, I think it was 10 weeks, he was up on his feet again. And now, before everything, he was traveling and giving talks and lectures and writing books everywhere. Next one, Norman Cousins. I'm going to go faster with Norman Cousins. He was American journalist. He had different conditions, and again, the doctors gave him a very bad prognosis. You don't have, it doesn't look good. And one of the things that he did, he used humor. He hired, he rented, I think at the time, I don't even know, decades ago, probably the VCR time. But he was watching comedy. So he would watch comedy over and over again. He would watch comedy. And that is also important. The same with the exercise, movies. Our thoughts, our emotions, they change as we watch a movie. You watch a terror movie or comedy or romance, our bodies change. And Norman Cousins, he knew how to do that by watching comedy. It helped him. And he had series of other diseases, and he had I think he had a heart attack. He had a series of things, and every time the doctors said to him that's it. I think he lived 20 years over what he was told. So there we go, controlling our thoughts and of course our behavior, our actions. Viktor Frankl, of course, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist who was a Holocaust survivor. Meaning, also giving meaning to life. When we give meaning to life, love, that changes things as well. So here I'm coming a little bit the love side of things and how we feel once again can interfere in our immune system, in our longevity. This, in terms of age, if we go to the oldest yoga instructor, perhaps there's another one now, but she passed away now in 2020. But look at this lady. This was taken, I think, when she was 100 years old, doing that yoga posture. When she was about 8 years old, she saw some boys in India doing some yoga, and she was told, I think 8 or 7 years old, and she was told this was something for boys. She did not take it. She did not accept it, and she started doing yoga, and she did yoga all her life. She was an actress who had other things as well. She did other things as well, but she had such a positive attitude. Look, on YouTube you can find some videos of her, and she will talk about the way she thought and how she was a happy woman and how she controlled her thoughts, and she lived quite a bit. 100 years old she was. I think this is wrong. It's not 1918. Oh no, no, I think it's right, because when she was 101 years old, I think something that she was still teaching yoga. And the last one, 107 years old, Louise Bonito. It's last time I heard she was 107 years old, and this is her 122nd birthday. And here it looks like she's crying. The photo is not very well, but she was laughing. She was laughing because when she went to blow the candles, when she went to blow the candles, her teeth came out, her denture came out. So she couldn't stop laughing. And it's a woman that also kept sense of humor and love for her family alive, and that affects our immune system. I'm going to show you very quickly a video. I'm not going to show you the second one. I'm going to show you 2 minutes of a very quick video about the power of the mind, the power of healing. It's about cancer. A lady, it's in China. Let's see if it will explain. If it doesn't explain, I will, because I want to start 4 minutes and 5 seconds, so we don't pass time. I think I'm going over time quite a bit, so we don't keep going too much. I hope you guys can see it. Can you see it? Can someone tell me? Can you see it? I don't know.
No, we've just got a blank screen.
Sorry guys, I don't know. Can you see? I don't think. Let me see. Oh, it's still okay. While it is loading. It is a. Tem que parar de filho. Tem que parar de 30 minutos. I'm sorry, the girls are.
Oh, it's all right.
Okay,
That's all right.
let's see. So what happens is it's a medicine-less hospital that they had in Beijing, China. I don't know if they still have it. And this was doing of practitioners, and they do a chant to heal a cancer in the bladder. So it was the power of thought, the power of intention, and the power of thought, the power of intention. Let's see. And this video is very interesting. If it doesn't come up here, you can see the link, and you can watch this video. There are other variations of the video, which are longer variations, and it is so awesome. It's very interesting because they get to the quantum fields, to the quantum healing, to the universal field, and then healing happens, and they have an intention. The chant that the practitioners use is that it's done, it's already done. It means it's healed. And you see on this video, I don't think it's going to go through, but you see on this video a tumor, bladder tumor. I have goosebumps when I think about this. You see it's shrinking. You see the healing happening. Live stream of the healing. Guys, I think, because of time, I think I'm going to stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you just...
It's amazing. Basically, the video is amazing. I think it's amazing. Yeah. And it shows the power of thought, of our thoughts. And let me go back to it. And power of intention.
No, you've lost it. I think the screen sharing is taking up too much of your bandwidth, Christine. And you've put yourself on mute, darling, as well, so we can't hear you. You're on mute. We can't hear. Yeah, sorry, Christine. Oh, that's better. We can now, but I think with the screen sharing, it's making your signal break up too much, darling.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We've just got the links up there.
Okay, cool. So there we go. You can watch this later. It's very interesting, quantum and sound healing. Oh, the sound healing, it's another thing, but please read what I mentioned here. And now we go to meditation. It's the last part of the talk. And we know meditation, it has many, many benefits in the immune system, but I'm going to go straight into a quote from Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. I like this meditation, this quote very much. Just three of the things that meditation does, just to sum up, because there are many others. It calms the mind and helps in the decision making. Remember at the beginning that I mentioned that when we affect our prefrontal cortex with fear, it makes it more difficult in the decision making. Meditation helps us in the decision making and helps us reduce the stress and anxiety that we are going through. And the meditation that I wanted to do with you, the one that I chose, is heart-brain coherence meditation, because for two reasons. One is that in the planetary evolution that we are going through, the changes, it's been talked about that love, we're entering the fourth dimension. It's the chakra, the heart chakra, the green ray energy. It's the heart chakra. So it's important for us to work on love and on our emotional well-being. And the heart is very, very powerful, because the heart, it actually has neurons and sends messages to the brain. And our thoughts and emotions, they affect the magnetic field, our hearts. We have a huge magnetic field around our hearts, and it affects somebody else next to us. I'm not talking about necessarily about obsession that's not independent. We have our hearts will affect each other, and we know that. And again, the importance of there's a difference, the field that we have around fear and love, the difference is massive. So we do the heart-brain coherence. Why? Why heart-brain coherence? Once again, heart has neurons, and the heart sends messages to the brain. And that connection, heart-brain connection, it shifts the rhythms of the heart. The heart-brain coherence meditation shifts the rhythms of the heart, and creates a more resilient baseline. So when you talk about, remember, talk about changing our thoughts, or breaking the habit of being ourselves. If that needs to be done, and we concentrate on our thoughts, we know ourselves, we know our thoughts, we know our behaviors, we know our emotions. The heart-brain coherence helps us get in touch with ourselves, with knowing. Sorry, I think I got lost. So, okay, so let's go back to where was I? Okay, talking about behavior change. If behavior is necessary, if behavior change is necessary, if you want to be aware of our thoughts, know thyself. We need to be aware of our thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and then with that we self-regulating, not suppressing emotions. It's just understanding the things that are going on inside ourselves, so we can react better to different situations. Okay, and heart-brain coherence is very important, because it's two different systems that are connected. It's directly connected, because the neurons of the heart send messages to the brain. So with the heart-brain coherence meditation, it's really like a guitar. So we are tuning it, and by shifting the rhythms of the heart, that is of course very important, because we are anxious. The heart beats faster. So slow down, heart slows down, and health gets better as well. Almost. Okay. Guys, do we have time? 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes for the meditation. And
yeah, we can do 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be lovely.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna play a song here. What's going to happen, just very quickly, is that for the heart brain coherence meditation, there's the Heart Math Institute who does research on this, the heart brain coherence, and they found out, brain scans and so on, found out there are certain, remember the chart, the motion, the vibration chart, that we can use appreciation, gratitude, compassion, love, for example, those four: appreciation, gratitude, love, compassion, and well, first slows down. We will slow down with our breath, and then we're going to think about those emotions, and you see that it's a very simple and effective thing to do. So I'm going to play just some music. It's music that there's something called Metaverse. You can find interesting music there, that really healing music because of the vibe, the hertz, the different hertz of music. And the one that I'm going to be playing is 111 hertz, and they titled it Cellular Healing, the holy frequency. So promote cellular healing, it's the holy frequency. So okay, so if take a few deep breaths. Maybe we'll slow down our heart rate. I'll put one hand on our heart. Because where attention goes, the energy flows. So you're safe, you're here, you're present. With the heart rate going down, our attention on our heart. We're going to invoke the feeling of those four words, those four emotions. What makes you feel compassionate? Compassion, gratitude, appreciation, love. You do two more times. Compassion, gratitude, appreciation, love. Compassion, gratitude, love, appreciation. You're safe. You're present. Bring attention to your breath. Take another few deep breaths as you're going to close this meditation. And now, move your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay. And with that, sorry, it was a little bit rushed, but with that, we conclude our talk. We talked about how we based on our thoughts, how it interferes with our immune system, positively or negatively, a little bit of the science behind it, and an exercise to be aware of our thoughts, be mindful of our thoughts, the skim screen exercise, and a good thing that I really think it's worth it have a look at it. There's some very good heart coherence meditations you can find on YouTube, so have a look at it. And with that, we conclude, and I say thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. It is lovely. I'm concerned about time, so I will ask one question. We have a lot of comments here on Facebook, but because of time, I will read one question, and then I think we need to close the event. So a question comes from Bob Williams, and he say, "Does religions believe in an all-powerful and loving God act as a healing placebo for people, neurologically speaking?"
If people who, sorry, can you repeat that? But yes, that's a very interesting question. Can you repeat that, please?
Yep. Does religions believe in an all-powerful and loving God act as a healing placebo for people, neurologically speaking?
Yes, I think it is possible. Yes, I think it's possible. That's a very interesting question because the thing is, our beliefs, since our beliefs are powerful in a way that, as I said, upregulating or downregulating genes, if you believe that, but there's a difference actually, think about it. If you believe that God can heal you, you're taking the power away from you. When we have faith and we believe in God, we also have authority of our own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And that is what makes a bigger difference. The blind belief in itself, I don't think it's necessarily the answer. Because if you have a blind belief, but if you have that belief, but you're not downregulating genes with fear and other stress responses, yes, okay, it can work as a placebo. But if you still have that belief and you downregulate your genes with fear and other stress responses, it will not work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's lovely. So I think what I will do, Lawrence, is there anything from you before you can do the closing prayer?
No, absolutely fine. Loved it. Thank you very, very much, Cristina. There's a lot in there that I could take on board. A lot that I'm quite surprised. I was well with you, so I must be picking things up very well. When you were saying things, I was going, yeah, I know that. But yeah, very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Closing prayer for Brucio.
Yeah, it's over to you, Lawrence.
Yeah. So once more, dear friends, just still your mind, still your body. Just focus on your breathing. And as you do, give thanks. Give thanks for all that we have within our lives. For each night that we sleep in shelter, in a bed. For each meal on a table. For each time that we interact this way, this new virtual world that is opening up to us, to bring in new thoughts, understandings, confirmations and expansions of our already established knowledge, and help us to take from these lectures that which resonates with us, that which helps us grow, that which helps us find peace, and that which helps us to be a part of this human race, to be that shining light, to send out love, warmth, and compassion to all those that we meet. Amen.
Amen. So, Chris, once again, thank you very much for being here with us. And for those that has been watching us, thank you very much for being with us. And apologies for the technical issues we have at the beginning. So we were a little bit late. But thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity, Fabrizio and Lawrence. And yes, I'm glad it worked out again, even with the technical issues. And I'm sorry about the technical issues as well. And thank you very much.
It
Thank
happened.
you.
Don't worry,
Bye-bye.
Chris. Technical issues. We did a whole service on Wednesday with no sound. So don't worry about it. Take care, my darling. God bless.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye now, guys. Thank you.